We are again looking at inequalities, but this time, instead of looking at inequalities on the graph, we're going to look at how to solve the inequalities with algebra, because sometimes it's kind of hard to tell from the graph whether it's, if it's real close to the line, it would be difficult to tell whether it's in the shaded part or out of the shaded part. And if you had to make the graphs for yourself, on the worksheet yesterday, I made all the graphs for you. If you had to make the graphs for yourself, would that have made it a little bit more difficult? Because it's hard to get the graph made exactly right. So I'm going to go ahead and start with example number 2. Would you skip to example number 2 to save a little bit of time? Okay, so how do I figure out if this point, I'm still answering the same question. If I did graph it, would this point right here be in the shaded part? And you have a lot of room out on the right-hand side of your paper to fit in this algebra. So I am going to substitute in this first point for the x and the y in the original equation. In place of the y, I'm going to put this 0. In place of the x, I'm going to put the other 0. So this would be 0 is less than negative 12. Is that true? 0 is less than 12, but is 0 less than negative 12? And so this is false. Since this is false, this would not be in the shaded in area. So you substitute the x and the y into the inequality statement and you see whether it's true or false. For part B, I'm going to take this equation, and in this equation, I'm going to substitute this number in for x and this number in for y, because, of course, the points are always in x, y order. So this is going to be 5 squared plus 5 minus 12, and in place of the y, I'm going to put a 1. Is that true? What is this equal to? 5 squared plus 5 minus 12, how much is that? Is that true? Is 1 less than 18? And so this is in the shaded part, that one is not. Because it made a true mathematical sentence. Over here, we're going to do this one more time. In place of the x, we're going to substitute in the negative 2. In place of the y, we are going to substitute in a 1. So this is negative 2 squared plus a negative 2 minus 12. If, what am I substituting in place of y? 1. If you put this in your calculator like that, you will get the wrong answer. In order to put it in the calculator correctly, you must put a parentheses around the negative 2 before you square it. You don't have to put plus and negative. You can just put subtract 2. Okay, if you put that in your calculator, or if you calculate it out, what do you get? Well, 1 is less than 10, but is 1 less than negative 10? So this is false. So this one's false, and this one's false, and this one is true. Now, in a minute, when you do your homework paper, there is not necessarily one true answer. You could have more than one answer circled, just like on your salmon-colored paper, you when you circled the points on your salmon colored paper, did you have more than one circled as a correct answer? Just like that on your blue paper, your blue homework paper, you might have more than one correct answer circled. Okay, let's look at problem example 3. I don't know why it's done this way, but most of the time when you have an inequality problem, it's given to you in standard form. Is that really easy to graph from standard form? Not so much. So before I can graph from standard form, I have to figure out H and K. What does H and K stand for? So I have to figure out the vertex so that I can graph this. So in standard form, what is my A, B, and C? To find the vertex, I need to use this little formula that's over there on the board. So what is the minuses from the formula? What's the B over 2A? What's that equal to? -1. So the H is equal to -1. Now I need to find the K. It says over there on the board, substitute to find K. Substitute what? Where? Go back to your original equation, and in place of the X, substitute the -1. And so this would be -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 4. And when you do that, if you do not put the parentheses around the -1, you will not get the right answer with your calculator. So what is that equal to? What did you get? You did not put parentheses around your -1. If you got a -7. So would you, it would be helpful if you would actually pick up your calculator and multiply that out. There have been some issues with the calculator. I'll look at your calculator in just a second. You should be getting -5 for that. And so, the vertex should be -1 and -5. What about the A? What is the A? No, what is the A? The A in standard form is 1. So the A is 1. If the A is 1, when I graph this, is my graph going to point up or down? So I'm going to put -1, -5 on my graph. Since A is equal to 1, it's going to be the same shape as this one that I have over here on the board. From my vertex point, I'm going to go left 3 and up 9. From my vertex point, I'm going to go left 2 and up 4. And I'm going to go left 1, up 1, and then I'm going to have the symmetric points over here on the other side of my graph. And then I am going to graph Oh, I did a solid line. Was I supposed to do a solid line or a dotted line? This has an or equal to, so that should be a solid line. Now, what kind of symbol is this? Is this a greater than or a less than symbol? This is a less than symbol, so I put my pencil on my vertex point and I go less. And so this part right here is what I shade in.